Hey everyone, Pastor Ty here with some missional equipping and encouragement for you today. If you've been through Discipleship Pathway, you might have heard us talk about context. And context is really important for missionaries in all respects. If you're a missionary who's called overseas to be a witness to the gospel in a different country, then you're learning the context of whatever culture you've been placed in. But we're all called to be missionaries, and some of us are called to be missionaries here in the Bay Area in our everyday life. And so, what is your context? If you've been living in the Bay Area for a while, you might just kind of breeze past this question. You know what your context is. You've been here your entire life. You know what's going on. But I would invite you to break it down into three sort of segments. The first would be home. Your home is exactly what it sounds like. It's where you live. It can be your literal house or apartment or townhouse, but it's also your neighborhood, the people who live next door and right across the street. It's maybe the complex of townhomes that you live in or the apartment building that you live in. That's one part of your context, is where you live. Your second context is another big one. This is your work or your school if you're still a student. These are the people that you spend a lot of time with throughout the week, but maybe that's all you know about them, is that they go to school at the same school you do, or they work in the same building that you work in. And then your third context is actually a little more of a concept than it is a physical location. It's what we call a third space. And a third space is something that exists outside of your work and your home, and it's usually related to something more personal to you. The first few things that come to mind would be something like a hobby. Maybe you really love to run and you run the same trail every day. That's a third space. Maybe you really love going to watch sports, and so that's your third space. Or maybe you are in a sport yourself. Your team would be your third space. Or if you're in school, a club or an honor society that you're a part of would also be a third space. If you're a coffee lover like myself, the coffee shop that you love and go to, and maybe some of the baristas even recognize you, that's a third space as well. These are your contexts, and these are important to think about because you have a specific context that many of us do not have. We might overlap here and there, but you're in your three contexts, and it's important to think about those contexts because I recently did a sermon where I talked about how lonely as a culture we are. We increasingly value individualism and what I am as a person, and we sort of forsake community, real community, to do that. Now, a study was done in 2023, a survey was taken, and it found that 1 in every 2 people were significantly lonely. That's 50% of a survey. So I'm talking about context today because we bump into people all the time. We go to work and school with different people. We see people in the neighborhood, and wherever our third space is, I bet you see other people there, but we're all reporting that we're lonely. And that's because maybe some of our relationships are a little more surface level. Maybe they're a little more acquaintances than they are actual friends. And that's, I think, something that we should consider as the church at large. How can we meet the needs of the people around us? What does good news look like to these people? Well, it looks like real community, honestly. So think about your three contexts, your home, your work or your school, and then your third space. How can you be real community in those spaces? If it's your home, maybe there's a holiday coming up that you can do a barbecue outside and you can invite someone over to grill out, or maybe even just invite someone into your home to have dinner. If you're at work and school, maybe instead of talking about a project or a big deadline coming up, maybe you talk with those people on a more personal level. Try to learn something about them, these people that we spend so much time with. And in your third space, what does it look like to actually be in conversation with these people that you see at these hobbies or these interests that you have and get to know them a little bit more? I made this point in my sermon that if you're looking to be in community with people, it's important to be in actual, real community, not just surface level conversations. You see, if you want to start a Discovery Bible study, or maybe you want to welcome someone into Discipleship Pathway, someone might be a lot more interested to do one of those things if you know them a little bit better. I also mentioned that friendship might need to be inconvenient. You see, for those third spaces, I think this is a pretty interesting topic because for some of our people watching right now, we really love sports. Specifically in the Bay Area, we love the 49ers, we love the Giants, we love the Golden State Warriors. But what does it look like to create a third space? And maybe it's a little inconvenient for ourselves. See, for the 49ers, we've got 17 to 20 games, depending on how the season goes, to watch our favorite football team. So instead of watching it at home on your couch with your favorite snack or drink or curled up under a blanket, what does it look like to go to one of the local restaurants and invite some coworkers or invite some friends from school to have a burger and watch the game with you? That's all it takes, is to create a little more community, and that can snowball into something much, much bigger. Because if you're looking to start a Discovery Bible study, someone might be a little more willing to say, yeah, sure, if you've spent time with these people. One of my third spaces, I love video games, and specifically I love Pokemon right here. And me and my wife, we've been playing Pokemon Go, which is a game where you walk outside and you catch Pokemon. And we go to Lake Elizabeth on most weekends to play. And as we've been there, people in the community have started to recognize us. And as they've started to recognize us, we've started having little casual conversations, jokes, things like that. But that has started, and it's taken a little bit of time, but that's part of the mission, is slow, consistent presence, and that can lead to something much greater. And we pray that it would lead to something much greater. So as a next step and an encouragement to you, I encourage you to think about those three spaces: your home, your work or your school, and your third space. And who are the people that you see regularly in those contexts? How can you be real community to those people? And how can you bring good news to them in that context? Here at FCC, we would love to hear if you have questions or ideas. We're praying for you, and just know that we're always here if you have questions. So go and be the church.